So you can easily make a lot of money on filmmaking, and there's a lot of different directions that you can do within filmmaking, like short films, music videos, documentaries, testimonials, and so much more. But whatever path you decide to excel in, interviews seem to be super important in a lot of niches. For the most part, a lot of other niches require a lot of gear to fully enhance that workload. As for interviews, there's 7 main things to consider, but 3 of the things are non-gear related and the main lead on what's going to exceed your client's expectation, making your clients want to recommend you more frequently. So whether you're a beginner or an experienced filmmaker, I have a high guarantee you might just finish this video with a few good tips. Wagwan, my name is Tyski, and if you're new to my channel, I'm a creative filmmaker, just spreading my creative vibes. Within my career, I've worked with clients that led me to film multiple interviews. Even though I've already had the right gear to pursue, I found out 3 main things to focus on out of the 7 that exceeded my clients' expectations. So here's what you need to know. Your main priority on the background, the lens choices, stabilization, lighting, microphones, the leading questions, and the story-driven B-roll is what really creates any form of interviews. But what exceeds your client's expectations are the focus of the background, the leading questions, and the story-driven B-roll. So let me explain, starting off with the background. The background of what's behind your subject plays a huge role within setting up the interview's TTM, or theme, tone, and mood. My recommendations to use is check your background's color, your lighting, your composition, and match it towards the TTM of the project. And if you do this correctly, this should impress your clients well. But here's what I recommend that you shouldn't do. Don't film with the background without building, shifting, or testing the environment. If you need to reposition something, shift it and test the view. But if the background looks appealing, then you're definitely in a good lead. At that point, you gotta focus on lenses. The lens choice you choose dramatically affects the look and the feel of your interview. Popular options are typically between 25mm and 55mm. Preferably, I would go with a prime lens and an ND filter so I can get the lowest aperture within the look of what I'm filming. Zoom lenses are okay too, just make it make sense for the usage and your best results. The camera doesn't fully matter, but the form factor, frame rate, and resolution can play a huge role within the quality. So here's some good recommendations on some lenses. For a wide shot of the environment around your subject, consider using a 25mm lens. It gives you a wider field of view and can create some more immersive experiences to the audience. For balance shots in between wide and tight, consider using a 35mm lens. This can make the interviews experience a relatable sense of storytelling at a familiar level. And this is kind of a little more of a fun fact, but the human eyes is very similar to a crop sensor of 35mm lens, so that's why it ends up being more familiar when people see a 35mm as an interview. For capturing more intimate close-ups, compressed backgrounds, or main focus on the attention of your subject, consider using a 50mm. Recommendation on what not to do: if you got a small space, try not doing too much compression, maybe just figure out going as wide as you can. So depending on how you film, you want to also think about what's the settings that you're going to rock with, right? So let's talk about camera settings. This should be pretty brief and easy, but you want to put this in the comparison of what frame rates you want to use. If you want to film with a cinema look, then definitely go with 24 frames per second or 23.97. That's usually your best option. But having a bit of realism, then stick with 30 frames per second. That's also pretty good. But if you're really about it, then go for 60 frames per second if you really want that smooth actual movements that go along with it. I really think that 24 and 30 frames are probably the best bets when it comes to interviews. As for your codecs, do your research to make it make sense on what highest quality of codec that you have in your camera, and probably shoot with that. Not to mention 4K is always great, just so you have ability for a lot of zoom in punch outs if you definitely needed to change a slight angle by cropping it in. So you have a few options. What do you want to do when it comes for stabilization? If you're filming with one camera, a tripod will be your best bet. If you're filming handheld, then turn on the stabilization known as IBIS, or in-body image stabilization. That's if your camera has that. And keep your subject within the rule of thirds of the grid line. If you're filming with a gimbal, consider a play box of movement space within your grid lines that complements the backgrounds, like a slow pace of trucking left to right. If you're filming with 2 cameras solo, consider filming at a 40-degree angle separately, one camera on a tripod, other on handheld or gimbal, or both cameras on a tripod. And so the tripod that I've been currently using that's just been doing absolute fantastic for me and a lot of my interviews that I've been doing has been the Victiv 25 plus a heavy Surreal ball head. And this tripod has done me justice. Some recommendations I don't recommend to do would be to stabilize against something that has the potential of disrupting the stabilization, unless you have the proper tools to provide that concept. Like using a stack of books along with boxes and maybe some random things to make it as a tripod, that can kind of be kind of risky. But even if you're doing an interview where you're kind of walking at the same time, then having someone to watch your back, or even using some sunglasses mirrors that showcase what's behind you as you're kind of walking backwards. And yes, if you didn't know, they're actually sunglasses that actually have mirrors in the back so you can see what's behind you. I kind of find this to be a very important filmmaker's tool because you can be potentially aware about your background surroundings. And if you are walking backwards while filming, then that's also a good direction. It's like rear view mirrors right there. But all right, let's go ahead and shed some light on this. Puns intended. Lighting is to make clear of your subject, but also portray emotions toward the interviews. My recommendation on lighting, especially if you're on a budget, I suggest getting 3 to 4 aperture MC lights and possibly 2 Godex LED. These lights end up being under $120, so buying multiple of these will definitely do you justice. For stands, a few cheap sets like the Mercury tripod can withstand the LED lights. Even clamps, or even utilizing magnetic surfaces, are another good option to utilize. Soft lighting helps flatter your subject's features, creating an inviting and professional look. And consider using a 3-point lighting setup, including a key light, a fill light, and a backlight to really make your subject pop against the background. If you're filming outside with natural light, try using lighter surfaces that can bounce light from other surfaces, or even use reflectors. But I got a key tip to y'all. I'm pretty sure you've experienced this, but filming a subject against the window when they're completely in exposure, but the window itself is like blown out. Well, there's a tip to fix that. To overcome this, use a Polaroid ND filters and balance out the exposure meter between -1 through +1 for the outside. Then use the brightest settings within your lights and make sure the lighting is close enough to the subject to brighten them up. And at that point, you should have a good balance between the outside light and the inside light to make it so that way the exposure is perfectly balanced between the inside and the outside. My recommendations on what not to do, honestly, bruh, don't be lazy for this and just really go out your way when it comes for lighting. Now, let's not forget about the audio, because your visuals might be good, but if your audio is just trash, honestly, no one's not really going to pay attention to it. Clean audio makes watching interviews tolerable. For interviews, a lavalier mic or a wireless mic could be perfect because it's discreet and allows for cleaner audio to capture. If you have a bit of room in your budget, I would also recommend shotgun mics, especially if you can put on a boom pole, because then you definitely have it at ease when you keep your subject in frame. But always remember to do a sound check before you start filming, so that way you can avoid the peaks within every interviewer. Most important, headphones. Always gotta rock with headphones so you can always check this out. Seeing the visuals on your camera, yeah, you can work with that, but you gotta hear it for yourself so you can absolutely know. So there's a lot of mics that you can check out there on the marketing, and I want to talk about one mic that I've been finding the most interesting because I've been utilizing a lot in my projects recently. This is the X5 U5 wireless audio system. Mind you, the price reaches about $80 on Amazon, and this mic is a lavalier mic. It's a wireless type of 2.4 gigahertz at a 6 millisecond latency and an operating range at 100 feet. With the transmitter, it's a belt pack that only weighs 55.2 grams, and that's without a battery. As for the receiver, it's a DSLR cold shoe mount that also still weighs at 53 grams. But what appeals to me about this mic is the batteries. The X5 batteries have a 3.8 voltage and the rechargeable lithium ion at 830 mAh, or milliamps, which means the lifetime is 5 hours of usage, but 2.5 hours of charging. But what sold me is I can still use these mics while they're still charging. The chargers are micro USB-C, so it's still pretty common. All right, so let me put a quick disclaimer. To be clear, X5 company has reached out to me to test out these mics, and it couldn't have been any perfect because I needed to utilize these in this upcoming project I've been working on. At the time of this video, I'm currently editing a documentary for a client. We decided we need more interviews to complete some of these documented stories, so testing out the U5 mic was a perfect time for me. And it goes to say that I really enjoyed it after just taking the time to learn about this mic. I enjoyed the decimal adjustment on the receiver, especially that I can go lower than -20 decimals to avoid peaking. It really made a lot of game changer, because at first when I was filming with it, I didn't know exactly what I was doing and I had peaking until I adjust those adjustments. I was like, oh, this is cleaner now.
What's up? My name is B-Boy Flea Rock. I'm from originally Miami, Florida. Just to test your skills, if you respect somebody, like, yo, I think you're one of the dopest. I want to test my skills against yours. Let's battle.
I like the plain button layouts that I was able to understand the functions without even looking up a manual. The U5 comes with a satchel bag that can hold all my mics at ease, even the chargers, but I did enjoy the battery life, making it last 5 hours off of a 2.5-hour charge. But yeah, within using the first time of these mics, I was actually really vibing it to the point I was like, this actually does make sense. This actually might be my go-to lavalier mics. I normally don't do unboxings, but I just got a package from X5s, and so here's my real reaction to me opening this up for the first time. So okay, let's go. Okay, so I see it slides out. That's like nice packaging. Oh, what? You actually have a sleeve, like a pouch too? That's actually very nice with it. Good quality of leather right here. By the way, this is actually my first time having a company sent me film gear that I use for my channel. This is where YouTube has gone with me, that I can actually do something like this. That's crazy. These batteries kind of look like GoPro 6 batteries, which is kind of cool. It's like really, really small. So this is a USB. Oh, it comes with lab mics too? Wow, that's actually nice. Okay, cool. That's where the hook is to it. Okay, cool. This is gonna be a fun experience to try this. So if you're interested in checking out these mics on yourself, there's links down below in the description. They're from multiple dealers, so if you want to get it in person or buy it online, you definitely have options. So thank you X5 for sending me these mics. I'm really appreciated that I'm able to do this in my YouTube channel, but I definitely will put them into good use. Hey, with all means, people like SMAR, and if they're that survive, I guess that survived. But the questions that you ask will make or break the interviews you will be creating. That's why we're here about the leading questions, or the ideal questions. If questions asked correctly with friendly intentions, you'll get the most out of an interviewer. Of course, your questions will be different per interview that you do, but this one task out of 3 questions would mainly be brought up within any interview that you do. Start off with icebreakers, personal insights, project focus, and reflections. Now, what I do for icebreakers is gonna sound really interesting. I usually like to focus on filming without letting the interviewers know that I am filming, and then I end up talking about myself, get them comfortable, and then let them talk about themselves too. But note, you're recording already, so they're already getting comfortable just chatting with you, not knowing that you're already filming. You know, it's like some friends.
My name is Rafael Gerges. I'm the wine director. Come have world-class food, and I'll pour you a glass.
Yeah, there we go. Personal insights is when you will dig deeper into your subject's experience. So you give them your knowledge of what you know about what this genre or topic is about. Therefore, when it comes for them giving you that deeper insight about how this insight is, they're more talking straightly to you more than talking to the audience of the camera.
Become friends and essentially family.
I like that. Definitely like that. Could you explain to me about your position? Because like I know you just told me, but I personally don't know. So could you elaborate a little bit more about that?
So I handle all membership-related inquiries. I also approve your application.
State your name.
My name is Josh Herring. I'm the general manager at Gravitas Club here in Beverly Hills.
Perfect. Sorry.
Ty, you made me feel better, so thank you. Thank you so much. You are good at this. You're good. No, I was nervous. I was nervous.
No, you killed it.
No, thanks.
Okay,
okay, right here? Okay,
yes,
okay. So as the general manager of Gravitas, I would manage the day-to-day operations of the club. So if a member comes in, they want to check in, how do I do this? How do I do that?
With project focus, it's aligning your questions with the client's goals. So obviously ask them, what are they aiming for? What are they trying to achieve? What's been the whole driven goal of what started them from day 0 to whatever number they're currently at to get to where they want to be. And lastly is reflections, prompting them to think about the bigger picture. Giving that statement of, with the knowledge that you know now, which could you overcome of what you're trying to go through in a situation. Now see, always keep open-minded to all the possibilities of how you can reword these questions, because sometimes rewording it in different ways will clarify for the interviewers to get through with detailed answers.
My name is Sophie Chase. I am head of programming and events at Gravitas Beverly Hills.
Sweet. All right, I like it.
Oh yeah. I am the programming and special events manager for Gravitas. I am so excited for all of our wonderful food, all of our cocktails, and I can't wait to see the beautiful events that we have for all of our members.
But I always find it important that interviewers have to answer your question with that question. Hey, how's it going? So tell me your name and what's your background? Tyski, and I like to film. Nah, bro. Okay, yeah, no, do that again. Say that with the question too. So tell me your name and what's your background? Oh, bet. Yeah, hi, my name is Tyski, and the background that I like to do in my lifestyle is just filmmaking. Nailed it. But finally, what drives a story within the interviews would definitely be the given B-roll. On filming on what the interviewer is talking about creates that great story. So a few recommendations. During the interview, take a few bulletin points on what they're saying and what they're talking about. If what they're saying is possible to film B-roll of what they're talking about, then take that ability to film those B-rolls. If not, then try to plan a dedicated day where you can separately film B-rolls of what they talked about. Ooh, this is a good one. If their answers end up being a little too personal to the point where you just had to be there to get that concept, then that's when you want to start to talk to them, chat to them about could they send over those photos and videos of what they mentioned. So with my experience, I find it crucial that when I ask them for personal information like videos and photos that obviously I wasn't there to film or just know that they exist, I usually give them about a deadline so they can send this to me. Give them about 7 to 10 days would usually be very good. Now, of course, the leading questions along with the driven B-roll is definitely not that easy if you are a closed-minded person yourself. You kind of have to be a people's person in order to alleviate these people's feelings, to be loose and goose with it.
Yeah.
No, this is it.
Okay.
That's the story.
All right.
That is the story right there.
Well, hopefully I do us, correctly.
I'm just a hardworking, kind individual.
Yo, you killed it.
Oh my God, I did not.
You did. It was one shot, one take, super easy.
Hey.
You thought it was needed to go more. No, that was it. That was it. You did it.
I didn't have anything else to say. There was nothing else.
So of course, if you want them to get a little loose, it's okay to actually set little sips so they can get a little loose with it. But make that make sense. But I will say this, even though if you may not be comfortable in front of a camera because you don't like to talk on camera, you gotta also think on their perspective, they also don't like to do the same, or maybe they do. But see, that's just the thing. You gotta act like it so they can just flow with it. If your energy's not there, their energy is probably not there. It's probably the best way to put it. Just know all this takes experience to get any interviewer to just be comfortable and going straight forward. And all I can say for you is, you got it. Look at this perspective. The interviewer has no idea that you're nervous too. They're at the most high of anxiety on what to say, but you're at your most anxiety when editing just to hope that they'll like this video that they paid for. And when they realize how good the video ended up being, y'all both had anxiety for the wrong reasons, meaning there was literally no worries whatsoever. Especially if you implied all these recommendations in this video and you took it serious.
Ty, you made me feel better, so thank you. Thank you so much. You are good at this. You're good. No, I was nervous. I was nervous.
I hope this video gave you some valuable good tips when it comes to making interviews. I tried my best to make this as fun and visual appealing as possible. If you guys vibed this video, then feel free to leave a like. That helps my channel more than you know. And if you want to see more content like this, then feel free to subscribe. It's entirely up to you guys. Once again, my name is Tyski Ty. Make it do what it does, what it doesn't, and I'll see you guys in the next video.